You want a bedtime story? Oh my god. It's been so long since I've read anything to you. Isn't that cool? It's a hardcover. Just in case you're still awake. Mwah. Tia. Sweet dreams, okay? I'll keep reading. What's the matter? You can't sleep. You know, it's probably because you're always on that damn phone. I'm just joking. Yeah, I know. It's almost like you have insomnia sometimes. Do you think there's like anything I can do to maybe help you sleep? Maybe calm you down? I can get you like some warm milk or something. If you want tea, I can maybe try and cook something up. I heard microwave tea is good this time of year, so I don't know if you're a fan. I don't know what tea we have. We could, you know, maybe I could grab a flower and then like put some water in it, and then heat it up, and then, you know, like heat it up in the microwave for you. No, you're good. Are you sure? I feel like I'd make some really good tea. Oh, you want a bedtime story? Oh my god, it's been so long since I've read anything to you. Okay, I guess, I mean, this is like a special occasion, I guess. Here, just, come on. Into bed. Lay down. I want you to just rest your head on this pillow. I'm going to get you your favorite book. It's probably the best book that I own, and I think it's really calming, and hopefully I can get you to relax. There's a lot of different characters in the book, so I'll probably try and put on maybe some different voices, try to bring you into the little land of immersion, and, you know, maybe I can get you nice and relaxed. And, I mean, as I do it, I mean, a lot of the times I'm going to be holding the book, so I can't exactly pet your head the entire time, but maybe I can do a little bit. A little bit of spoiling. So I already know you know what the book is because it's literally your favorite book, but just in case you forgot and you need a little bit of reminding, let me go and find, here it is, here it is. It's called, here, I'll even tap on it for you. Isn't that cool? It's a hardcover. Okay. So, the book is called The Very Embarrassing Book of Dad Jokes, because your dad thinks he's hilarious. I know you've already read the book like maybe 10 times by now, maybe even 20 sometimes. It's a book that I always go to just calm down and relax, and I think the plot of it is just impeccable, breathtaking, just absolutely amazing. And like just some of the things in here are like they tell such they have it's almost like a child's book, because it's like they give you so many morals to just live your life by. It's practically like a Bible, you know, except it's less boring to read than the Bible. I don't know if you want me to just flip to random pages, because, you know, sometimes it doesn't matter if you go into the middle of the story, if you just start from the beginning. But if you want me to start from the beginning and read every single page, I could always do that. I guess I'll start, and then once I see that you fall asleep, that's when I'll stop. So you just focus on laying down and relaxing, and I am going to read you possibly the best book you've ever read before. By the way, this is by Ian Allen. I think. Either that or it's a backwards P. Hello. Let's get one thing straight from the start. Dad's jokes aren't meant to be funny. The perfect dad joke should always generate groans, not goughs. Dewy-eyed nostalgia rather than the cries of, "That's a new one," and pitying glances, not affectionate smiles. But although dads love telling jokes, lots of them have difficulty remembering them. Their heads are too full of important stuff, like, when is the MOT due? And, who do Crew Alexandra play on Saturday? I don't know who that is. Which is why they trot out of the same 2 or 3 old gags time after time after time. This book now gives you 1,000 or so new old jokes to trot out time after time. Just memorizing 3 every morning while on the toilet will allow you to annoy your kids with a year's supply of hee-hee seeking missiles. If I give you an example of a joke that failed to make the cut, you'll get some idea of the comedic nirvana that awaits you in the rest of the book. The teacher said, "Mr. Smith, I think you should buy Jimmy an encyclopedia." And then the father replied, "Rubbish. He can walk his way to school just like I had to." You get the picture. Next page. Oh my god, I want the jokes. Why are you not just giving me jokes? This joke book is the result of literally days of research into Christmas crackers, the backs of cereal packets, and dog-eared copies of The Dandy. I even borrowed a library book containing ancient Greek jokes, and all I can say is that it proves the old ones most definitely aren't the best. If I had only known how handy they would have been, I would have kept all my lolly sticks with jokes on them from the 1970s, instead of letting my mum throw away them last year. Most of the jokes in these pages were either dredged up from dusty reaches of my memory, or else, when I am rediscovering them in print or online, give me that warm feeling you get when meeting an old friend you had quite forgotten about. A few, though, were new to me, and therefore might not be thought old enough to merit inclusion in the classic Dad's Joke book. But I think they all meet the Dad Joke criteria. If you tell them often enough and badly enough, you can remove any hint of humor from even the funniest of them. Never forget, dads, your children are wonderful. Just remember what philosopher John Locke said. Children are travelers, newly arrived in a strange country of which they know nothing. And that, in a nutshell, is why dads who tell jokes have large families. Because the single greatest thing about being a dad is that every time you have another kid, you get to tell all your jokes for the first time. Again. And if you only happen to have 1 or 2 kids, there's no need to worry. A wise man once pointed out that no one should be afraid. No one should be ashamed of telling a joke more than once, as, after all, no one complains when their favorite piece of music is played repeatedly. So remember, it's important to get your money's worth. Finally, a health warning. Attempting to read more than 50 or 60 dad jokes as bad as these in one sitting could have serious long-term health consequences. For your own sake, stop reading after a dozen or so and go for a nice long walk. Mow the lawn or sit down in front of the telly with a cold beer. You'll feel better, and so will the family. Enjoy. And so now, we finally get on with the jokes. Why did the orange stop halfway up the hill? He ran out of juice. What's the richest country in the world? Ireland, because its capital is always Dublin. What's worse than finding a worm in your apple? Finding half a worm. William Shakespeare went into a pub. The barman took one look at him and said, "You're barred." The first man said, "I'm going to see the doctor because I don't like the look of my wife." The second man replied, I'll come with you. I can't stand the sight of mine." The first man said, "How many people work in your office?" The second man said, About half of them, probably." What do you call a sheep with no legs? A cloud. The first man said, "I once knew a man with a wooden leg called Smith." The second man said, "Really? What was his other leg called?" A son said to a dad, "What are you getting Mum for her birthday?" The father replied, "Probably a new bag and a belt. The Hoover hasn't been working very well lately." What do you get if you drop a piano down a coal shaft? A flat minor. How does an intruder get into your house? Intrude a window. Intrude the window. One nice thing about telling a clean joke is there's a good chance no one's heard it before. What do you call a man with a seagull on its head? Cliff. What do you call a man with a piece of grass and a seagull on his head? A Heathcliff. What's yellow and dangerous? Shark-infested custard. Did you hear about the man who drowned in a bowl of Mussolini? No. Did you hear about the man who drowned in a bowl of muesli? He was pulled under by a strong current. Next page. What do you get when you run over a sparrow with a lawnmower? A shredded tweet. What's yellow and swings through the jungle, smelling of almonds? Darzypan. Why do milking stools only have 3 legs? Because the cow has the udder. How does an elephant get down from a tree? He sits on a leaf and waits until autumn. Oh. My bad. Here, have a little bit of a dad stat. 62% of dads admit to trying to pass off successful jokes as their own, when really they just heard them on the TV or stumbled across them on the internet. The patient said, "Doctor, I feel like it's a snooker ball." Doctor then replied, Get back to the end of the queue." I don't get it. The patient said to the doctor, "Doctor, I keep forgetting everything." The doctor replied, How long has this been going on?" The patient replied with, How long has what been going on?" Why did the banana go to the doctor's? Because he wasn't peeling very well. The first man said, Tell me, do you follow your nails?" The second man replied with, "No, I just cut them off and threw them away." How do you get into a house with no doors and no windows? Keep running round it until you're all in. What's brown and sticky? A stick. The first man said, I had a wooden car once. Wooden doors, wooden wheels, and even wooden wedging. The second man said, really? How was it? The first man said, it wouldn't go. How do you tell if the worm is a boy worm or a girl worm? Tell it a joke. If he laughs, it's a boy, and if she laughs, it's a girl. The boy said, Dad, there's a man at the door with a bill. The dad said, don't be daft, son. It must be a duck with a hat on. What do you call a man with a plank on his head? Edward. What do you call a man with 3 planks on his head? Edward Woodward. I don't get it. What do you call a man with something brown and sticky on his head? Jedward. None of which makes sense to me. Stupid answers kids give to questions. What is a glacier? Someone who mends broken windows. Where does a kangaroo keep her baby? In her porch. What's a vacuum? A large empty place where the Pope lives. What did Moses bring down from Mount Sinai? The tabloids. What did Socrates die of? Socrates. What is it, Socrates? What did Socrates die of? An overdose of wedlock. A dad stat. 1 in 4 dads admit that their child has learned at least one swear word from when he stubbed his toe on the door. What's the difference between a jeweler and a prison warden? One sells watches and the other watches sells. A dad said to his son, what's the difference between an elephant and a post box? The son replied, I don't know. The dad then said, I'd better not give you my letters to post then. Who's the quickest draw on the seabed? Billy the Squid. What lies on the seabed and shivers? A nervous wreck. What's orange and travels at 100 miles per hour? A turbocharged carrot. What's big, black, bounces and go ding-dong? A rubber cathedral. Why shouldn't you play cards in the jungle? There's too many cheetahs. How do you make toast in the jungle? Pop your bread under a grilla. What's green and goes up and down? A gooseberry in a lift. What's huge, pink, and wobbles? An inside-out elephant. A man went into a chip shop and asked for fish and chips twice. The man behind the counter said, I heard you fine the first time. The patient said to the doctor, Doctor, Can you give me anything for wind? The doctor then replied with, have you tried a kite? What do you call a man with a rug on his head? Matt. Why don't polar bears eat penguins? They can't get their wrappers off. Two men walked into a bar. You'd have thought one of them would have seen it. Why do bakers work so hard? Because they need the dough. Two fish were swimming in a lake when one swam straight into a concrete wall. Damn, he said. A son said to his father, Dad, why haven't you spoken to Mum this week at all? The dad then replied, well, son, I don't like to interrupt her. What's worse than a giraffe with a sore throat? An elephant with a nosebleed. A patient said to the doctor, Doctor, my hair is falling out. Can you get me something to keep it in? The doctor then replied with, ask at the reception. They'll give you a box. Why can't you find any aspirin at the jungle? Because the parrots eat 'em all. Am I really good? Come on. The polar bear cub said to the dad polar bear, Dad, are you sure I'm a polar bear? The dad polar bear responded with, of course, son. I'm a polar bear. Your mum's a polar bear. And all your family are polar bears. Why do you ask? The cub responded with, because I'm flipping freezing. What's the scariest thing in the ocean? A terrapin. What's an egg? An Eskimo home without the toilet. Oh, piece of stick without the loo. I get it. What's the difference between a buffalo and a bison? You can't wash your hands in a buffalo. What do you get if you cross the Atlantic with the Titanic? Just over halfway. What do you get if you cross a sheep with a kangaroo? A woolly jumper. What do you get if you cross a sheep with a kangaroo and a zebra? A stripy woolen jumper. What do you get if you cross a kangaroo with an elephant? Great big holes all over Australia. A man once went to the doctor's with custard in one ear and jelly in the other. The doctor said, "What's the matter with you?" The man replied, "You'll have to speak up. I'm a trifle deaf." What do you call a deer with no eyes? No idea. What do you call a deer with no eyes that doesn't move? Still, no idea. What's the difference between a duck? One of its legs is both the same. There's no date. What? Okay. What do you call a fish with no eyes? Fish. The old lady in a chip shop asked the assistant, "A small bag of a small bag of chips, please." The assistant then said, "Would you like some salt and vinegar?" The old lady said, "Oh, I don't know. Is it free?" The assistant said, "Yes, absolutely free. the old lady then replied with, "In that case, I'll have 2 packets of salt and a bottle of vinegar." The doctor said to the patient, "You appear to have a steering wheel attached to your groin." The patient then replied with, "I know, it's driving me nuts." The patient said to the doctor, "Doctor, I keep thinking I'm a dog." The doctor then replied with, How long has this been going on?" The patient then replied with, "Ever since I was a puppy." Yeah. What do you get if you cross the bee with a lizard? A blizzard. Oh, are you all asleep now? Don't worry, I'll keep reading you until I know for sure you're totally and utterly asleep. But just in case you're still awake, mwah. Cheer. Sweet dreams, okay? I'll keep reading. The diner said to the waiter, "Waiter, these eggs are..." "What's black and shoots out of the ground, shouting underwear?" "Where did Napoleon keep his armies? Up his sleeves." "Cat, stop drinking my water." A few, though, were Cat. What? Why? What? 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 Oh my god. Please. The first man said, "I once knew a man with a wooden leg called Smith." The second man said, "Cat, can you not drink my water?" Cat.